Good morning, CSL Simi Valley. So good to have you here for our Vert service coming to you live from the Rambo Van Gelder Multipurpose Room and Studio. Simi Valley East. What a day. All right, so first off, wake up. And I hope today, maybe if you need it, you can catch a nap to grab the hour that you lost. And hope you had a wonderful and happy Halloween. Yeah, today's talk from Melissa and Z. Who you going to call? It's not the Ghostbusters. We're calling Melissa and Z. We'll see what they have to say for us. It's been quite a week, and we're days away from the election. And I was noticing in the news, this is amazing. It looks like we're on target for over 150 million Americans to vote in this upcoming election. That's nearly half our population. And you know, a lot of the population's too young to vote. So that's a lot of voters. We're up to around 90 million people that have already voted early in the election. Have you done your early voting? I hope you have. There's still time to go. You can go to a polling place. You can drop it off at a drop box. You can draw it in the mailbox as long as you get it posted before the polls close on Tuesday. Lots of ways for you to use your civic right and duty to make a choice for what's happening for our nation. However your principles drive you to that choice, make the choice. If you don't, then don't complain. You lose your right to complain if you don't make the choice. That's the way it goes. Now that's a positive thing. It's all positive. It's all God showing up, and God is showing up in so many amazing ways and showing us ways that we can work together in community to protect one another. We're challenged in some of that. It looks like Friday, close to 100,000 new cases of coronavirus were found in the U.S. We had the worst week we've had since the COVID lockdown began, with 500,000 new cases found in the U.S., popping up all over the place. So we need to continue to do our diligence. Ventura County's moved into the red zone. Let's hope that we can stay there and move to the next level, which would be the orange zone, which means we could probably try to come back together and do some things in person. But that's down the line. But the first thing we need to do is bend that curve back down toward zero. Back down toward reasonable numbers. It looks like Europe is locking down again. And then, I mean, I know I don't want to start the thing off with all this bad news, but this is really the news, as Michael Beckwith tells us, is a call to prayer. And our call to prayer is for all those that are feeling the restrictions and the hold down and what that does to us, but also all those whose hearts are cracked open for the big folks around the Aegean Sea in Greece and Turkey that are still pulling out, and our friends in the Philippines who are looking at Gino running down toward them, a super typhoon. And here in the U.S., we went all the way down to Z in the hurricane list. I can't remember in all the years doing weather, maybe twice that we got down to Z in the hurricane list, and the season's not over. Officially, I think it ends today, but it's not over weather-wise. It could still happen. We might have to start over with the next list back to A again. There are lots of reasons to pray, to treat, to hold our consciousness, to do what we do, and to know that through our thoughts, through our minds, through what we attract into our lives, we can create the world that works for everyone. And I got to close out, no matter how you might feel about him one way or another in his personal life, he was definitely my James Bond, shaken but not stirred. If I were still doing martinis, I'd have one for Bond today, a shaken, not stirred martini. Lots of things to take care of, lots of things for us to do. Our call to action is strong, and our principles and our mission statement gives us all the tools we need to take all of that I just talked about and eradicate it from the planet and move into a harmonious and joyful experience of life. Let's do that vision and mission statement right now, and I'll remind you, you already know it, but if you see this and think about it, everything in that mission statement gives us all the tools. That's the toolkit we need to make this world work better for everyone. It's right here. First off, it starts in being community. We're community, inclusive, loving, and authentic. We celebrate all paths to God in gratitude, empowering self and others. And here's the other part. Here's the other big tool. We serve compassionately through outreach, inspiration, and education. That's who we are. That's why we're here. And here's what we do.
Got it? Mm-hmm. Who you gonna call? First Lovers! And now, here's what we do. At the verge again. Glued to our screens, we're at our verge again. All over Cali and the world, we're spreading love. We're all together at the verge again. November, a new month. That means it's time for the Simi Community Salon, sharing our hearts through the arts.
This month's salon theme is dreams. Join Dorothy Morgan and other members of the community sharing their inspired artistic representations sparked by dreams. The salon begins at 7 o'clock and access is easy. There's no password. Here's the Zoom address: 832-871-2651.
And earlier at the evening, join Debbie Jarvis for Yoga with Debbie, a workout for your mind, your body, and your soul. Everyone is invited. Now, here's the Zoom information for yoga. The meeting ID, 878-5693-8671, and the secret passcode is that's 253932.
We have 2 weekly features that we encourage you to check out. Play and Learn with Dr. Susan is so inspiring and great for the kids. It's a spiritual lesson. Hold up the YouTube sign. Good job. You find them posted on our YouTube channel, CSL Simi Valley. Dr. Susan also streams live on Sunday mornings at 9:30 through the CSL Simi website.
And practicing oneness at 1.
With Reverend Stephen, Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock on his Facebook page.
Again, it is.
Our center's practitioners and ministers are available for emotional and spiritual support. You'll find their contact information on the center's website. Click on About Us for a pull-down menu and scroll to Our Practitioners. You can also call the office to leave your prayer requests.
All of our services are uploaded to YouTube. Search CSL Simi Valley on YouTube. You know, we know that some of our community aren't on Facebook. Tangent! Do you know the secret origin of the Facebook logo? People are saying it's actually a subliminal suggestion. People hunched over their phones, hypnotized by the Facebook app on their screen. Back again. We know that some of our community aren't on Facebook. Now, YouTube is a way for them, for the Facebook lists, to stay connected. YouTube makes it easy to share our community with family and friends who missed this live broadcast.
A few of us get together after the service on Zoom to check in, catch up, and share about this morning's talk and my hair. We call it Opera Verge. All are welcome. A link to Opera Verge will be posted on the chat window near the end of the service this morning.
So, welcome to all of you, viewing from wherever you are and whenever you are.
We're so grateful that you choose to spend this time with us.
Are they precious or what? Who are you going to call? Verge lovers. That's who you're going to call. Thank you so much for the announcements, Mark and Dina, and all the things that are happening. I do want to do one quick update. We will not be having Verge after service today. Okay, but we'll join you next week, but we won't be having it today after service. Now, you notice at the top of the service, perhaps, that the Soul Purpose Band got together in the Collins family's backyard to do a recording of some of the songs, and it's so great to see them all together again. It's magnificent. Next time, we're going to get Saul in there, too. You might have noticed Saul wasn't there. And Saul, we missed you. We missed you, dude. We want to figure out how to get the drums in this next time, okay? So just wanted to bring that out and say that also because I kind of switched up the service a little bit, and now we use I Release in this moment, the first community song, I Release. So this is the idea of releasing everything that gets in the way of your spiritual experience today. Release all the concerns and the worries and tribulations and trials that have gone on this week. Let them go. Step yourself into a clean slate and let this song move you into that place that you can be used by God, be a vehicle for the divine as we move through the rest of the service today. Here we go with Soul Purpose Band, I Release.
I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide, only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Good morning. Please join me for the morning affirmation. The most powerful choice I can make is to align myself with the divine. I choose to let Spirit guide my life. As I do so, I am blessed beyond measure. Now please join with me and we'll repeat the affirmation. The most powerful choice I can make is align my life with the divine. I choose to let Spirit guide my life. As I do so, I am blessed beyond measure. I would like today to share with you the reading that I'm going to be doing is called You Make the Choice. It's by Reverend Ron Fox. He's one of our writers for the Science of Mind magazine. All right. I read a fable about a woman who comes out of her house and sees 3 men with long beards sitting in her yard. They look hungry, so she invites them in. But they inform her they cannot come in until her husband returns from work. When he returns, once again she invites them in. We do not go in to the house together, they reply. The woman asks why, and one of the men tells her, one of us is wealth, another is success, and the third is love. Go and discuss with your husband which one of us you would like to invite in. The husband's first thought was to invite in wealth. His wife disagrees and wants to invite in success. Their daughter-in-law, who was observing the conversation, quickly interrupted and said, "Why not invite love? Then our home will be filled with love." They decided to follow the daughter-in-law's advice and invite in love. As the men start walking towards the house, the other 2 get up and follow him. The lady of the house was surprised and asked, "I only invited love in." "We are all coming in together," the old man replied. "If you invited wealth or success, the other 2 men would have stayed outside. But since you invited in love, wherever he goes, we go with him. Wherever there is love, there is also wealth and success." Dr. Ernest Holmes wrote, "Have enthusiasm, and above all, have a consciousness of love. a radiant feeling through the consciousness of your mind at all times. When love is flowing through us, we have wealth beyond measure. And if we have that, how can we not have success? Thank you for joining me with the reading. I'd like to have you join me now with our opening treatment. Let us come together now and recognize and know that we are all one. And in this one space, we know that we are together. As we move into this wonderful service and the talk that is going to be performed, we absolutely know that there is that truth within it for each and every one of us, and that we are blessed by all the people that are here. Even though they're not physically in presence, we recognize their energy and their love. So as we step into this service, we know that it is bountiful, pleasant, beautiful, and enlightening. We know that this is the truth, and as we say together, and so it is.
Good morning, Simi Valley. My name is Z.
My name is Melissa.
And we are thrilled and delighted and pleased to be here this morning with y'all. We're back. Some of you might remember us from before, and other people are probably saying, who are these strange people? Yeah. Well, we are here.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some fun.
Strange.
We're going to have some fun this morning. So, what we're going to do first is we're going to do a call and response. Super easy. It goes like this. We're going to clarify, magnify, occupy, and then you say, occupy your faith. That's faith, not face, although feel free to occupy your face. And then we're going to glorify, testify, fortify your faith. Perfect. That's it.
Yeah. And then there's singing parts. You'll hear how it goes at the very beginning. It's very simple, and we invite you to sing along also.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
You ready?
Are we ready? Yeah, I think so.
Fortify your faith. Fortify your faith.
When I was a child, a little bitty baby child, I didn't believe in nothing. Faith is for suckers, I told myself. People who are weak, people who need help. But all around me, everyone would say, you gotta believe, you gotta pray. Believing in nothing ain't no way. Here's what you gotta do. Each and every day, you gotta clarify, magnify, occupy your faith. And then you gotta glorify, testify, fortify your faith.
Oh, you've got to fortify your faith. Oh, you've got to fortify your faith. Oh, yeah.
Time went on, and I grew up. I started to question. I said, what's up with my life, the world, the universe, and how things work? Why am I here? Tell me now, what's my worth? I started to notice synchronicities and a power beyond what I could see. Next thing I knew, I heard Spirit say, here's what you gotta do. Each and every day, you gotta clarify, magnify, occupy your faith. And then you gotta glorify, testify, fortify your faith.
Oh, you've got to fortify your faith. Oh, you've got to fortify your faith. You can do it. Make it stronger. Come on, pay attention. There's no need to wait. Fortify your faith.
Now I know. Now I see that faith in the heart and grows. Where it stops, God only knows. So if you're down, if you're blue, remember that spirit is bigger than you. Let it hold you, mold you, take you, shape you. And here is all you have to do. You gotta clarify, magnify, occupy your faith. And then you gotta glorify, testify, fortify your faith. Oh yeah, you gotta clarify, magnify, occupy your faith. And then you gotta glorify, testify, fortify your faith.
You got to fortify your faith. Oh, you got to fortify your faith. You know you got to believe.
Fortify,
fortify your faith.
I'd like to invite you to join me right now into our gap time, which is our meditation. So if you would like to join me, relax, get comfortable and relax. And take 3 deep breaths. 1, 2, and 3. As you open your eyes and recognize and know the space that you're in, it has been a beautiful, sweet, quiet time. And now we move into that time where we can stretch our imagination and our consciousness as we move into the remainder of our day.
Thank you, Dr. Susan. Wasn't it sweet to see Dr. Susan doing the art today and giving us our gap meditation? She's doing double duty because she did Play and Learn at 9:30 live for our young kids. So really, thanks you so much. Hats off for that. And also for Carrie Hillary and Chris Pinnick, who not only gave us the video, but created that soundtrack to go with our gap meditation so you could go into that deeper space and maybe guide it sometimes by music. It's a little different when you're watching on the screen. I encourage you to close your eyes if you need to, but sometimes when the screen is there, the temptation is to watch the screen. So we try to provide something that is soothing and meditative, like a one-pointed candle type of meditation, to help you dive into that gap space, to help you clarify, magnify, occupy the gap space. Then you can glorify, testify, and you got your faith fortified. That was a great song. And Z, by the way, I do like to occupy my face as often as possible. You know that line when people see somebody that's glum and they say, "Are you happy? Tell your face." Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay, so now we get to hear not only Z and Melissa's wonderful music, but they're going to provide our talk today. The talk they're bringing us is called Who You Gonna Call? So now I invite you to enjoy a moment with our dear friends Melissa and Z.
Who are you going to call? That is the question for today, and the answer is not Ghostbusters, unless you would like it to be.
Unless you have ghosts in your house, yeah.
So you may or may have not have noticed there's a lot going on in the world right now, and sometimes wondering who to call, what to do, how to navigate it is kind of tricky. And ultimately, it comes down to choice, right? Choice about how we choose, what we choose to do, and how we choose to live our lives. Now, Raymond Charles Barker weighs in on this. He says, in The Power of Decision, all intelligence abides in your subconscious and awaits your call upon it. You may say that you do not know what to do, but at the center of your mind is the clear decision that you should make. It is right there. Now, what we're going to say today is that spiritual practice is always the right choice. Thank you, free will. We can choose to do whatever we want. But we're going to say today, we're going to focus on this idea that choice and the choice to choose spirit and to choose spiritual practice is always going to put us in a good place.
Yes.
Gary Zukav, another wonderful writer, has this to say. Choice is the engine of evolution. If you choose unconsciously, you will evolve unconsciously. If you choose consciously, you will evolve consciously. The power of choice is the greatest gift you have been given, second only to the gift of life itself. Second only to the gift of life itself. How beautiful is that? So when we use that power of choice to choose something that is life-affirming, to choose our spiritual practice, things can get better than we ever imagined, and navigating things like a global pandemic and divisiveness in a nation and apocalyptic wildfires for those of us here in California can be, a little easier. Melissa and I have a version of spiritual practice too that we want to talk about today, that we choose and we want to share with you. It's one word for it is the I-thou practice. It's about building a relationship with spirit, choosing to build a relationship with spirit. Now, a lot of us, when we were growing up, spirit or God was a white male senior citizen in the sky who occasionally went off his meds. And we were supposed to build a relationship with that guy? Like, no. Not going to happen, right? So how do those of us who are new thought metaphysicians, how do we build a relationship? How do we choose a spiritual practice that's about building a relationship with spirit that's somehow different than that old model, right? So that's the kind of choice that we want to talk about today. And Melissa is going to get us started. And I'm going to go off into a portal in another dimension.
Don't take the microphone with you.
Okay. There we go.
When I was growing up, we went to church every Sunday. Every Sunday. I sometimes think my mom just wanted to dress us up and show us off, but we went every single Sunday. And then we, of course, the only God I heard about in church was that one that Z was talking about, right? The randomly off his meds guy. And that God was outside of me and was punishing God. That's the only one I knew about. And in the 6th grade, I switched schools and started attending school at the church. So then I went to church 6 days a week. Monday through Friday, we went and had church every morning before school. And then I would go also on Sundays. Yeah. And I would hear about that God. And that God got increasingly difficult for me to accept, appreciate, feel safe with. In part because I was hearing things that didn't line up for me. You know, when you're in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, right around that time, you start having a mind of your own and your own sort of view of what you've been hearing. And so I was listening through those new shades and hearing about this God that was all loving, but also was going to send my best friend Donna Abrahams to hell because she's Jewish. Okay, that did not make sense to me at all. Not only did it not make sense to me, it was so deeply disturbing and confusing. And what that did in me was it turned to rage. Now, a lot of things turned to rage for me then. And I will never really know how much that experience led to my becoming a drug addict in the 7th grade, full-blown 13-year-old, full-blown drug addict. And what I did with that all was I turned completely away from spirit. I think I'm not the only one that did that. It was like, well, I don't want anything to do with that God. So no, thank you. I just like that. So the good news is that 31 years ago, this past July 31st, I became clean and sober. Yay! Yes, thank you. So soon thereafter, I found Centers for Spiritual Living. And in Centers for Spiritual Living, I started hearing about a new version of God. I started hearing about this version that was two things. God as everything, all that is, and God, because God is everything, God as me, right? I still wasn't hearing about this God outside of me that I had heard about as a child, which really worked for me, actually. Really, really worked for me. I've since learned, and Z and I have more recently since learned, that the philosophy of Ken Wilber talks about the 3 faces of God. The faces of God. So, face 1 is God as all that is. God as everything. God as we. Face 2, God as I am. So God is everything, 1. 2, well, if God is everything, God is me. God is I. And the 3rd face of God that Ken Wilber talks about is you. This God that is outside of me, that we, of course, understand that there's the paradox that it's not only outside of me, it's also inside of me, which is kind of a conundrum. It's a paradox, right? It's part of the beauty of this metaphysical teaching is that both and. That is, God is all there is, and within me, and I can have a relationship, a communication with it. I can speak to it, the outside of me version that is also inside of me. When we have all 3 faces, the I, the we, and the you, we then have a 3-dimensional relationship with spirit. So this is how that came about for me. About 10 years ago, I finally said yes. Actually, it's more now. I finally said yes to going to ministerial school and started attending. And thank God, Z and I did ministerial school together most of the whole way through. And at one point, we had to take this class. We got to take this class, and we had to. where we did a guided meditation in which we were invited to commune, to be, to sit, and to be with Spirit. It was really palpable and powerful for me. And in that meditation, the guy who was leading it asked us to ask Spirit, what is your perfect name that you would have me call you? And I heard really loud and clear, like it was a voice outside of me, the All. The All. And it went clunk inside of me, you know, that kind of yummy clunk that happens. And so the next morning I was walking and I was starting to do my spiritual mind treatment that I did when I was walking. I still do. And I said, instead of saying, there is only one power, this power is all that is, this power is me, I said, good morning, the All. And I felt this whoosh. My heart opened. It was this like visceral, incredible experience. It was very deep for me. And it changed my experience. My whole experience of Spirit shifted because it reintroduced and started to re-include that Spirit as you for me. And of course, this version of Spirit as you was the unconditionally loving Spirit. Much better. After a while of praying this way, it started to feel cumbersome to speak to the All and say the All every time. And so one morning when I was walking, I asked Spirit, I said it might seem blasphemous and, you know, just tell me if it's not okay, but I kind of want to shorten my name for you. And instead of saying the All, I would use the initial for each of those words and call you Ta. Would that be okay? I heard this like very entertained response like, I do not care what you call me. So yay. So I started calling Spirit Ta. That's my own personal name for it. And since then I've been thinking about that, how when we develop an intimate relationship with someone, whether they're a friend or a sweetheart, a family member, we very often end up with a nickname for them, right? In my house, I know that if I hear Z say Melissa, I am in trouble. I'm in trouble. And they know the same thing. If I say Z, unless we're out in public and I'm introducing them or something, it's kind of like they've done something. So there are ways to develop this intimacy and go deeper into that relationship with Spirit. And one, of course, first of all, the first thing we always do before we do anything is we set an intention. So I would say, I want a deeper walk with Spirit, right? And with that comes all kinds of goodies. And then second, asking Spirit, what is the name that you would have me call you? My perfect name for you. And then one of my favorite things is that prayer that Z and I do. You know how as metaphysicians we pray for so many things, sometimes health and well-being, houses, whatever, and pray for others and all of that. And one thing that I hadn't thought of forever until recently, the Z and I came upon a couple years ago, is we now pray and ask Spirit, bring me a deeper walk with you. Bring me closer. Let me hear you. Let me see you, right? And the cool thing about this is when we pray for that, everything else is made clear, including all of our choices, because all of our choices that we then make in life are guided choices. We are guided and directed and led to the very highest and best good for us and us alone to do. The beauty of the choice of building that intimacy that leads to all the best choices in all the rest of our lives. Kind of awesome, right? So, yeah. To talk more about that and tell you a story about that, I now give you Reverend Baby.
Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
I guess I must not be in trouble because she said baby. So I guess I'm good. All right. Making that choice to surrender to Spirit and build a deeper relationship with Spirit is something that can bring a lot of surprises and something that can be kind of scary sometimes. So I'd like to share with you how this has impacted our ministry. Oh my God, life, our ministry. It's been about 6 years. We're this many, 6 years old. And at the very beginning of our ministry, I got a message from Spirit by building this relationship with Spirit that changed our life, changed our ministry. And in order for that to make sense, I actually first have to tell you a story about a cat. This was about 2 decades ago now. About 2 decades ago, I had a bad breakup, really hard breakup. And I decided that what I needed to help me get through this breakup was I needed a cat. I needed a cat. And every other pet cat that I'd ever had just showed up in my life, as cats are wont to do, right? Showed up at my front door, showed up at work. A friend said, hey, can you take this cat, right? That was not happening. I was waiting for it to happen, not happening. So finally, I took matters in my own hands. I said, Spirit, you're not moving fast enough. I go to the local animal shelter, and there was this room with a whole bunch of cats in it. I don't quite know how the cats put up with that, but I guess maybe because they had to. Whole bunch of cats in this room, and I find the perfect cat for me, perfect kitty, and I pick her up, and I say, I want this kitty, and they said, no, that kitty's taken. But here's another kitty who looks just like her. So I go over to that kitty, and I pick her up, and I pet her for about 30 seconds, and then she bites me. So I put her down, and I said, I'll take her. I don't know. What was I thinking? I was thinking I wanted a cat, and I wanted it now. So what happened was I would just say, oh, then I took the cat home. No, not so fast. I actually had to jump through a bunch of hoops at this place. They had to get 2 references for me, and they had to call both references to find out if I was a suitable cat guardian. And I also had to fill out this form that was so long and so involved, and I basically had to sign my name in blood that I would never return this cat to them, and I would never give this cat away to anyone, ever. What can I say? I wanted the cat, so I did it. Did all these things, bring the cat home, name her Lucy. 1 week later, a friend of mine calls and says, I found the perfect cat for you. And I said, where were you a week ago? Now, I should have just stopped there, but I couldn't. I had to go check out this kitty. So I go to this pet store. There's this little orange male tabby, my favorite kind of cat, little orange male guy, and he's adorable, and he doesn't bite me. And as it turns out, he's super easy to adopt. So I did it. I brought him home too. And I named him Max. Now we have just one problem. Max and Lucy do not get along at all. I'm in a very small place. It's very disruptive to have them hate each other. And the vet that I'm taking them to says, tortoiseshells, which is what Lucy was, tortoiseshells often make better only children. And I think in this case, that's true. But I couldn't take her back, right? I had signed my name in blood, right? So it broke my heart. But I gave Max away. I gave the little orange guy to a friend of mine. So now it's just me and Lucy. And, Lucy was pretty good with her, but wouldn't you know, she had a tendency to bite. All of a sudden, out of the blue. A lot of cats have a tell, not Lucy. You just never knew when this was going to come, right? And it was kind of scary. It made the whole thing with her kind of difficult. I loved her, but it was tricky sometimes. Fast forward, 13 years later, Melissa has come in the picture now. We're a little family, and Melissa and I are about to graduate from ministerial school, and I get a download from Spirit because I am being a good little spiritual person, and I'm building my I-thou relationship. I'm making the choice to do that, and gosh, what happens is I get this download, and this download says, you're about to start your ministry, and you have 2 choices about which way you want to go. Choice number 1 is you can make things happen like you did with Lucy. right? Like on your time frame, go, 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 like yang energy, make it all happen all the time. And if you do, it's going to be pretty good. Like things were, they were okay with Lucy, but it's going to bite sometimes. Second choice, second way to go would be instead to be like every other cat you ever had, other than Lucy, where you let Spirit do it on Spirit's time. And if you do that with your ministry, things are going to go much better. Whoa. Now, before I got this download, I had never put that together. That Lucy was the one cat that I had forced to happen on my time, right? And it was the most difficult cat relationship that I'd ever had. So that's one thing. The second thing is, a few months later, Lucy died. Suddenly and unexpectedly. Like we're upstairs, we hear a noise downstairs, she has a seizure, and she's gone. Just like that. Very much like Lucy. Sudden, unexpected moves, right? We found out later she had a congenital heart issue. There's nothing we could have done. So here we are. We're starting our ministry, and we've been told these two choices, right? And we've been kind of given an example of what could happen if we go either way. Now, we knew when I got this message, I knew when it said, follow Spirit, it meant, and not push, that for us meant, it didn't mean doing nothing. It didn't mean sitting at home and twiddling our thumbs. Not that there's anything wrong with twiddling your thumbs, but we're creatives. We're going to be creating art and music and words and writing and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be doing that, but it meant like not pushing out in the world. Now, we had a friend who, when she started her ministry, she got a download from Spirit that said, go out in the world, hustle and meet people in your community and network and all that kind of stuff. So that's the beauty of making the choice to build this relationship with Spirit, is we get our own unique messages. So this is our message. And what our message is saying is, don't do that push out to make the out in the world thing happen. Did we do it? Well, here's the thing. We were kind of a little freaked out about money. I mean, just keeping it real, just being honest, especially at the beginning. We were kind of freaked out about money. So we made some phone calls. And by we, I mean Melissa. She had some contacts. She gets on the phone. Hey, this is Melissa Felipe calling. Yes, I used to come to your center. You remember me. Exactly. The musician. Yes. Hello. Well, I'm a minister now. Thank you. Yes. And I'm doing ministry with my wife. Yes. I know, it surprised me too. I didn't have one of those last time we talked. I know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. My wife's name is Z. Yeah, just the letter Z. I know it's a little different. Yep. They are a minister as well. Oh, no. There's just one Z. Z defines themselves as gender rich, and a whole lot of gender going on, and uses the singular they as their pronoun. I know, also a little different. Exactly. Anyway, I wanted to let you know what we're doing as a ministry. We're going around talking music, various centers, all that kind of stuff. And the talk, pretty much the regular thing. Musically, though, we're doing something a little different. I'm still singing. And Z does spoken word. Hello? Hello? It didn't work. When we tried to push, it didn't work really well. So finally, over a year into the beginning of our ministry, we said, okay, Spirit told us that the choice to make was to surrender. We're ministers. Maybe we should surrender to Spirit. So we did. And wouldn't you know, not all of a sudden, not right away, but when we just let go and let Spirit do it, we started to get calls. We started to get calls from people, including asking us to do things we didn't think we wanted to do. We thought, we don't want to do retreats. We don't want to do workshops. And we got asked to do it. And we said, okay, we're surrendering. We're following Spirit. We did them and we said, we really like this. And it turns out we're actually kind of made to do a lot of this stuff, right? Not only that, we built a really deep relationship with Spirit because we were so dependent on Spirit at this point. Sometimes there's the metaphor of the headlights in front of you. Like sometimes we couldn't even see that. It was like, an inch of headlights. Nothing. The other thing was we watched it all come together almost almost as if there was a divine blueprint underneath it all. What we were doing at home supported and grew what was going on in the world, and vice versa. And people would say to us, your business plan must just be genius. And we're like, I know, right? Like, this is not us. Like, Spirit is so much smarter than we are. Like, really. It was incredible. Right around this time, Melissa is out doing errands one day. She runs into a friend who says, do you want a cat? I have a cat living under my house. I can't take him. You guys want a cat? I'm in Ohio at the time, visiting my parents. Melissa calls, and she sends this picture, and I'm like, that's our cat. That night, I get another download from Spirit that says, that cat's name is Max. To which, as we've now established, I'd like to argue with Spirit. I said, no, that cat cannot be named Max. I already had a Max. The next day, saying nothing about this, I called Melissa, and Melissa says to me, you know, it's the weirdest thing. I keep getting, Spirit keeps telling me that cat's name is Max, but that cat can't be named Max, right? That's crazy. So Max came home to live with us. And needless to say, given that Max was Spirit's choice for us, he is the most incredible, most loving, most amazing cat that I've ever had. And when we were putting this talk together, I got why his name is Max. The first Max that I got was the more surrendered version, the more surrendered choice, right? But I had to give him back. But it's never too late to surrender to Spirit. It's never too late to make that choice. And so Spirit, reminding me that, sent me another Max. Oh. So we have a picture of our boy that we want to share with you. There's our little munchkin. We call him our little rubber-nosed prince. This little guy is a constant reminder in our lives of the power of making the choice to follow Spirit. And we know that when we do, sometimes it's going to get scary. Sometimes we're going to argue. Sometimes we're going to say, it's too much. I can't do this. I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. But when we look at those little eyes, it just reminds us we're safe. We're loved. And when we make that choice to surrender to Spirit, to build that relationship, to trust even when we're scared, then life gets better and better and better all the time, because surrender is not giving up. It's empowered surrender, right? And when we do that, life not only gets better and better all the time, it doesn't bite. Now I have an affirmation for you. I'm going to invite you to say this with me now. The most powerful choice I can make is to align my life with the divine. I choose to let Spirit guide my life. As I do so, I am blessed beyond measure. And so it is. Let us pray.
Spirit, deepen my walk with you. Let me hear you. Let me feel you. Oh, Spirit, deepen my walk with you.
There is only one life, one source, one power in and through all of creation. This is the truth of me, and this is the truth of everyone listening to this prayer. This is the truth of you.
sweet Spirit. And so I speak a word for and about each and every person listening to this prayer now, that we are all deepening our relationship with you, Spirit. We are setting our intention to do so. We are finding our own unique name for you. And we are setting this intention to build a deeper relationship with you as a way to deepen and improve and enlighten and expand every aspect of our lives. And as we do so, things get better and better and better, not only for ourselves, but for everyone we come into contact with, and indeed, the entire country and the entire planet. And so I am grateful, Spirit, for how you do your work in the world, through us and as us. And so I just give this back to you. You take it, Spirit. You make it so. We say yes. You say yes. Everybody says yes. And I release this now by saying, and so it is.
Let me hear you. Let me feel you. Spirit, deepen my walk with you.
And so it is. Reverend Dr. Melissa Felipe and Reverend Z, thank you so much for that reminder, for that deep talk, for that wonderful walk with Spirit, for the reminder to have that personal relationship with the divine, to call God whatever you like. I love calling God friend. And the call that God's time is always on time. What came to me in listening to that is that we all have an individual God time zone. We all have our own God time zone, and it's never too late. Never too late. It was a wonderful talk. Thank you so much. It's going to be posted to YouTube. There was a lot there. You can go back and listen to it again and again and take notes and study it, because there's a lot to work with in that one. And wow, just so wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks so much. This is when we move into that time of the service where we do our affirmation of prosperity and abundance, and then do our offering. So join me now as we say our affirmation of abundance, our statement together. Here it is. Divine love, it's doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love harmonizes. Divine love adjusts. Divine love prospers. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for CSL Simi Valley. Now, divine love is victorious.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the spirit around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. Trust in God. I surrender. I surrender. I am one in the spirit around me. I surrender.
I bring you another sweet tune from Melissa and Reverend Z.
We'd like to give a shout out to Reverend Stephen Rambo for having us here today. Thank you so much, Reverend Stephen. We're very, very grateful to be back here with you and with your community, and are just always grateful to get to come and play with y'all. Yeah. So
Yep.
Now we've got another song that speaks to a lot of what we've talked about this morning. Yeah. When I was a kid, I heard this song. It said, I know you didn't bring me all this way to leave me. I didn't believe in anything then. Who brought me? Who left me? I didn't know. I didn't care. My MO was so low. I couldn't feel your help, your hand, your holy waiting. When we met, I wept, finally aware of your help, your hand, closer than my anger or my longing. You met me where I was, said it's never too late. I am always here. I know you didn't bring me all this way to leave me. Now I know you brought me all this way to love me.
There has never been a time you let me down. Oh, never. I've heard it said I can turn away, but you turn with me, magnified in me. And I see that every time I stumbled, you carried me. When I was bound, you set me free. There has never been a time you let me down. Oh, never.
I celebrate you every day, except when I don't, when I forget. A slip back to solo alone, so I don't know the shape of your grace. I can't find you anywhere. Then I remember, and there you are, pressed so close that every breath is a return to you. I know you didn't bring me all this way to leave me. Now I know you brought me all this way to love me.
There has never been a time you let me down. Oh, never. I've heard it said I can turn away, but you turn with me, magnified in me. And I see that every time I stumbled, you carried me. When I was bound, you set me free. There has never been a time you let me down. Oh, never. 'Cause every time I stumbled, you carried me. When I was bound, you set me free. There has never been a time you let me down. Oh, never. No.
When I was sick, you were there. When I was scared, you were there.
There has never, 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 never been a time. Yeah.
When I gave up, you were there. When I got up, you were there.
Never
the time you were there. All the time you are here.
There has never been a time you let me down. Oh, never.
Truly sweet. Truly sweet. Thank you so much. Great songs, awesome talk, beautiful service today. So many people to help to make this happen. Let's spend some time in gratitude about all that we have, the beautiful thing that we have, this community that we're a part of, the Centers for Spiritual Living, the great talent that we have. Dr. Sue last week, Tracy Brown 2 weeks ago, Mike Karioka in the first part of October, Melissa and Z today, the Soul Purpose Band back together again. Thank you for the Collins family for letting them journey in your backyard and play and bring Darlene on the congas. Thanks for all of that. Thank you for Dr. Susan for taking the double dipping today and bringing us our art service. Big heart out to our Virch lovers, Mark and Dina, for the announcements today, and Carrie Hillary and Chris Pennick creating that wonderful Gap video for us. In a moment, you're going to see Floyd Lula, In the Name of Love, and we're so grateful that they've given us the permission to use their song as our closing song. And what would our service be without you? Thank you for being here, for our youth that Dr. Susan supports with the Cosmic Kids. Big heart out to that. And thanks to Dr. Holmes for creating a distillation of all the ancient teachings and wisdom truths into what we call the science of mind, so that we as practicing religious scientists can put these activities into our life, can put these theories and these philosophies into a life to make our life that much better, to recognize that God is personal to us, that we can create our own name, that it resides within and also without, because it is everything. Big thanks to the staff, the board, the adjuncts, the giants and the sisters who have been holding the high watch together in their meetings and knowing that the best is unfolding for the center. For Dorothy and Johanna and the community salon that's coming up this week. Dorothy's doing it alone this week, but they brought that community salon to you. Debbie Jarvis for yoga each week, and for our e-core that's available to you for prayer at any moment. This is the time where we just say thank you to each and every one of you for all that you do, for all of you that are in the background supporting it, that are sharing it with your friends. And let's extend this period of gratitude, because first off, think of someone you know and send a loving thought of gratitude for someone that you know. Not Will, the guy at the corny store, the one at the gas station, the woman who bags your groceries. Then think of someone that you love deeply and send them a thought of gratitude. Now here's one. Somebody or some group or some organization, some position that you struggle with. Be grateful for the struggle. Be grateful for their diversity of thought. Send some gratitude and love to that. And lastly, someone you wouldn't talk to. Someone you think you can't talk to. Send love, healing, forgiveness, and gratitude to that. Because everything that we do is about living in the name of love, as Floyd Lula is going to tell us in a moment. Join me now as we do our closing benediction, and this really nails it all home for us and brings our entire teaching into a distillation of one statement. And that is, I'm at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love.
Hey, Simi Valley, we're grateful that you're here. This is from Floyd Lula.
We love you. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. In the name of love, with a heart of grace, overflow in us and decorate this place. As it is below, so it is above.
May we always stand in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love, may we always be seeking out the best till we all are free. Living in a world we've been dreaming of, where we stand as one in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. 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 When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. 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 Oh yeah. In the name of love. 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 Peace and blessing.
We love you.